Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, hi, my name is Shiana. On this channel I do all types of fun beauty, makeup, fashion, all different type of lifestyle videos. So if that interests you, make sure you subscribe and join the fam. For today's video, I am doing a full and detailed soft glam tutorial for you guys. So if you are interested in that, then just keep on watching. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip my bangs out the way. So my skin is already prepped for my primer. Here lately I have been using the Milk Hydro Grip from Milk Makeup. So this is what it looks like. And I work this here in the center of my face and then I'll blur it out everywhere else. A little goes a long way with this stuff, so you don't necessarily have to do more than like 2 pumps of this. Really, a pump and a half does the job. The good thing about this primer is like it's truly a hydro grip. Like I use that all the time. It's just like moisturizing, hydrating, and like the perfect base to any foundation. Typically, depending on the day and what I'm going for, I'll switch between my tinted moisturizer in the shade 5W1 when I don't want to use a lot of foundation for the day. I just kind of want to give myself like a nice tint, glow, evenness to my skin. That's what I'll use. But if I do want a little bit more coverage, I typically go in with my ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation because it's a medium coverage hydrating foundation, and I like it because I can kind of work with it and manipulate how I need to. So for today I'm going to be using the ColourPop because I do want a little bit more coverage today, just because I don't know, I just want to do that. So I just take a flat foundation brush and I just buff this into my skin, because like, look at this, y'all. It just blends right in to my skin. And I typically don't put too much makeup on my forehead because I have bangs. So I'm just gonna like lightly dust a little bit on. And if y'all want any details on how I colored this wig, please go watch the other video. I will have it tagged below on how I achieved this ashy blonde highlights on this curly hair. All right, moving on to concealer. I use the JUVIAS Place concealer. That's my favorite and go-to just because I love how creamy and movable and workable it is. So I use 2 different shades, 17 and 13. 17 is lighter, 13 is darker. 13 is a little bit closer to my skin tone. I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all how I apply my concealer. And so I'll just focus the lighter concealer in the center of my face, like this, and then I'll take a little bit of my darker concealer, shade 13, and I'll just blend the outer edge of that. A trick that I do with my concealer is I let it sit in the placement that I have it in for a little bit, just so it can kind of not settle but focus in the areas that it needs to focus in before I blend it out everywhere. Just because I do want it to be brighter in the center of my face, so when I blend it out it'll just mesh really nicely. I have my wet beauty blender. This is from ELF. This is my favorite just because I like the shape of it. It is a little dirty, but I promise it is clean, but it is damp. And I just blend my concealer out with this, so that's what I'm gonna do. That's pretty much it for the concealer. To contour, I also use Juvia's Place, but I use their foundation sticks. Like, I just prefer creamier products just because they are movable, workable, and I can just play around with them more. So I do use a foundation stick. I typically don't like to use these as foundations. They're just a little too creamy for me. So I have the shade Benin. Typically, I don't apply this directly to my skin. I always put it on my brush and work it into my brush. Working into my skin with the brush because I can just get more of a softer, natural contour. All right, so I just paint my brush with it and I lightly stipple the product in. And I kind of focus it in the center of my contour first before I work it out anywhere else. The It Cosmetics brush. I have no idea what it is because I think it's a foundation brush. It's rubbed off, so I've had this thing for so long. In case y'all were wondering what brush I was using. And now this is the part where I was telling y'all I just kind of contour my forehead and bronze a little. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'm just taking a little bit of that and putting it in the hollows of the temples of my forehead. Okay, so to set my concealer, I use the translucent honey from MERCIER, and I'll use a little bit of the original just to kind of focus it on the center of my face to brighten that up, and also to kind of bake just a little bit, not too much for my nose contour. So I currently have way more translucent honey than I do translucent, but you guys can see the tone difference. One's a little lighter and more paler, and then this one is a little bit more yellow and medium and peachier. The translucent honey is good for more medium to dark skin tones, as the translucent is more for lighter complexions to medium skin tones. So I like to mix these two when I am chiseling my contour or I am just setting my face. So first I go in with the translucent honey, and before I put my powder on my face, I always stipple it on my hand first. This powder is already finely milled, so I don't really have to worry about it much when it comes to making sure it doesn't get like cakey underneath my eye. But if you're ever worried about that, I would always recommend using their puffer. Oh my god, their puffer is like legit amazing, because you can literally put a little bit of powder in that thing and it sets your entire face. Do y'all see how like my skin just blurred itself out? Like, that's why I love this. I love MERCIER. She's literally amazing. Her products are amazing. I'm just putting the translucent honey everywhere that I would set my face. I'm gonna take my translucent and I'm gonna bake. Okay, now that I have done that, I'm gonna let this sit for not too long, just a little bit. I typically would spray my face before I bake, but my foundation was really wet, so I'm not gonna do that. All right, and so to set the rest of my face, I use my MERCIER Candleglow Sheer Perfecting Powder in the shade 4. And I use another flat top brush, and I just kind of swirl this in here and I dust it all over. and then once my under eye bake is done, that I'll use this too to dust it away. Now that this is done, I'm gonna go ahead and work on my eyebrows and the eyes. Here lately, I have been super natural when it comes to my eyebrows. So I just use the deep brown in the microfilling pen, and then I use the Precisely My Brow in shade 4 and the clear gel, the 24-hour brow setter. So first, I just lightly go in and define my shape with my pencil. And of course, I always make my tails darker. Okay, so once I did that, I'll take the deep brown microfilling pen and I'll just lightly go in and flick little tiny. So it looks super natural still. Like, this is my eyebrow filled in, this is my eyebrow not filled in. Do y'all see like how I barely did anything and it just made a world of difference? So now I'm gonna go ahead and do my other eyebrow and we'll come back. I forgot to set my brows, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. These brows look fire. I'm gonna go ahead and dust this powder off and set my contour, and then we'll move on to the eyes. And I'm just using the leftover powder that was in here. So what I'm gonna use to contour is my Hoola Caramel in this Bronze Cheek Squad palette. I didn't have the original just by itself, so I just have it in here and I just use it. And I use this Mica Beauty brush. I got this from like a beauty sale thing that we had here at like a hotel a long time ago, and I was just like, oh, this is a really nice brush to contour with. All right, so I just lightly, I don't put too much pressure on this powder because it's already like super pigmented, so a little goes a long way. But I always focus the harshness here on the bridge of my nose, and I kind of diffuse it everywhere else. And so I'm putting a little bit underneath, and I just push that there. And then I just like to take a little on the corner of this brush, and I'll go right on the tip of my nose to give me a more slender looking nose. Okay, and then I take that same powder, the Hoola Caramel, with a different fluffier brush. I always call this a bronzing brush because I feel like that's exactly what it is. But you can use these for blush as well, but I'm just setting my contour with the Hoola. And then once I've done all of that, I just take that flat powder brush again and I just mesh everything together. Now for my blush and my highlight, I have been using a new one. It's from the MERCIER's holiday collection, the opening night cheek palettes, and I just really love these because of the colors of them. Like, do y'all see how pretty that is? And this blush is like my everyday go-to color. So I'm typically a blush girl, but I know some of y'all aren't, so you don't necessarily have to do this step. But I love my blush, so I typically just hollow out my cheeks with it, and then I'll run it across my nose as well. so now I'm gonna mix the highlights, this one and this one. I always go with this one first because I can always bring it and make it lighter. Take my highlighting brush, which is actually a paintbrush from Michael's that I bought a really long time ago. But I like to do now more of a contoured highlight. So what I'll do is I'll put the darker highlight right on top of my blush and into my temple. But do y'all see how like it just makes my skin look so refreshed and like naturally wet? I don't know. And then I'll take the lighter one with my finger and I'll just pop her right here on the tip of the cheek. And right here. When I'm in the mood for a nice soft glam look, there's two palettes that I have always gravitated towards, which is the Carli Bybel from ANASTASIA. Now I'm not sure if you can still get this one, but this is what it looks like. And then this is what it looks like in the inside. Or if you're wanting something more affordable, my other options are these JUVIAS Place mini palettes. The nude and the chocolates, they're my favorites for nice, soft, natural, everyday looks. But for today, I'm gonna use my Carli Bybel. I'm going in with this one right here. So I typically always focus my darkest shade first into my crease, and then I'll buff it out with a lighter shade. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here next to go on top of my crease color. And you see how it kind of just softens it, but also warms it up just enough to where it looks like a nice, soft, natural, contoured eye look. Like you can't really tell that I did much. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And then I just take that lighter shade and I bring it all the way across my lid typically. Because I'm not a huge eyeshadow girl when it comes to just doing the basic bare minimum. I do the basic bare minimum and then I go on about my business. But if I want to look kind of more put together and a nice going out soft glam, this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which is Moo. And I'm gonna pop that right in the inner corner and like bring it up here kind of. And I just kind of like lightly buff that out. And then for eyeliner, I use the Laura Mercier Black Ebony like tight line eyeliner for my waterline, and I'll smoke it out a little bit. So as an acting guide, when I do it, I'll basically push it up from the bottom, and that's where I'll know where I need to place my wing. So if you never know how to do wing liner, always smoke it out from the bottom and then go in and then apply your eyeliner. Now I'm gonna take the Wet n Wild megaliner and now I'm gonna wing out my eyes. All right, so now I'm gonna do the other eye off camera. I just use my Super Fan mascara and it does the job for me because I don't wanna like draw too much attention to my eyes, but I don't wanna draw enough so you can see like my baby wing. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do first, and then I'll put lashes on. Okay, so these are VELOUR lashes. They're luxury faux mink lashes. In the style Friends Wish Benefits. This is what they look like. Okay, so now lastly is my lips. My go-to lip color is a brown lip liner with my MERCIER plumberry lip liner, because it's just my favorite lip color because it looks just like my lips. Typically, I'll go in with my KKW nude 2, but this is 2.5, so it's a little darker. And then I'll take the plumberry. And then lastly, I'll just take my e.l.f. gloss and I'll put this on top of my lip color. So guys, this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, comments, video ideas, make sure to comment them down below. Please give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed and share this video for me. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.